And hello and welcome to the Legends of the Wind podcast. I'm your host, Jurri Schenck. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm so excited to have you here watching us doing prophetic story. I have a question for you. Have you ever gone to a church and found out that people left because they were offended? Oh, sure. We hear that story all the time. People leave for all sorts of reasons. But have you ever heard of a story where someone left because they were offended? For the reason is the speaker was talking in riddles, figures of speech, sayings that didn't make any sense. Well, many people had that problem with Jesus's prophetic stories and his parables. And so what we're doing is we're initiating the voice of story from heaven here in the church. So today's story is called The Water of Life with my guest, Cori Schrader. And it's a bit different. In the past many shows for a while now, a lot of my prophetic stories I've been delivering have been dealing with inner healing or soul or heart issues. This one's a bit different. And honestly, I don't really know how to navigate this one, so I'm pretty excited and nervous at the same time. So I'm super excited about this opportunity to bless Cori with a prophetic story. And I want to give you, who are new to me and new to Legends of the Wind, about a little bit of bio for me. So I went to film school at USC in Los Angeles in 2002 to 2005. And there I had my eyes and ears opened up prophetically when I had a dream where Kim Clement, the prophet, came to me and basically opened up my eyes and ears. And I learned to do this because I was dream journaling, and it was part of a creativity class. And then a little bit later, I ended up doing children's ministry at a church in Northridge, California, called Living Faith Christian Church. And that church was associated with the Kim Clement ministry. But God started doing something different with me prophetically. He started giving me stories for the kids. And these were downloads for the kids that I didn't really know. And the pastors and the parents were freaking out. Not in a bad way. We're like, we've never seen the prophetic done this way. And so the stories kept highlighting these kids' identities and destinies. Then later on, it started doing more while I was attending Expression 58 at the same time, and that's where I met my wife, Alicia. And so from there, Alicia and I came up with the term with my family, Legends of the Wind. And that's the collective name for all these prophetic stories. We are a nonprofit ministry. We are a prophetic ministry that celebrates the creative arts. And so prophetic story is a bit new for people these days. People aren't necessarily Googling yet how to get a prophetic story. Usually prophecy in ministry settings like a church or a conference or even out in the street, the language is a bit direct and kind of easily understood. But prophetic story is a narrative. It's got a character or multiple characters. It's got a problem. It's got a quest. It's got a solution and a journey. And there's all sorts of hidden treasures inside them. Now, I want to give you a quick scriptural basis for this. So in the Bible, it says that in Proverbs 25:2, it says, "It is the glory of God to conceal a matter, but the glory of kings to search a matter out." And this has to do with discovery. And in a prophetic story, we as a listener or even the person receiving a prophetic story is getting to get the opportunity to discover a matter. Now, also in Psalm 78, 1-4, it says, "Give ear, O my people, to my law. Incline your ears to the words of my mouth. I will open my mouth in a parable. I will utter dark sayings of old, which we have heard and known, and our fathers have told us. We will not hide them from their children, telling to the generation to come the praises of the Lord and his strength and his wonderful works he has done." Now, and you notice here, I highlighted dark sayings. Dark sayings are not evil. In the Greek or the Hebrew, it means shadowed language. And shadows hide treasure. And the shadows represent something of substance, but the substance is hidden inside the shadow. So when you tell a story or you do a piece of art of some kind, it's meant to express the hidden treasure in them for you to discover. It's different than force feeding a message down your throat and making you believe something. No, God respects your idea of free will and to discover something on your own and let your heart be ready to receive it. So that's what we do here at Legends of the Wind. Now, when I was doing the prophetic stories at Living Faith Christian Church, this journal entry in 2008 was the genesis of all of this. I already was prophetic, but God said, when the time comes for you to be ushered into my presence, I will help you believe that my story and my history are sound and of good shape. The people in Hollywood will come to you for the story, not a mere screenplay, but an understanding of the story that I'm writing. The ability to see and to understand story is vital for my church and the transformation of the culture. To know the enemy, to know the heroes, to know the quest and the stakes, to take the risks, and to believe in your heart that what you're called to be and to do are desperate and necessary. These are elements that must return to the consciousness of the culture. The ability to tell stories will open people's eyes, bring a bridge to the word and to the author. I am writing your story. I am perceiving your greatness and your sight and your sound. You will be able to walk into a room and tell people their story. Prophecy and prophetic words will change. It won't be a mere description of their past in a literal sense, but a telling of their true character as I define it. You will speak to their past in story form, and then you will hand them their future and let them finish the parable. Isn't that cool? So good. So thank you for letting me share a little bit about my background. I want to welcome you in the chat. Looks like we have my mom, Gail, is here. Hello, glad to see what God gave you tonight. And Robbie Little is here. Yes, hi. I'm so excited for my guest, Cori Schrader. She is the daughter of Robbie and Bob Little, who are very precious people to me and my wife, Alicia. I am so thankful for Bob and Robbie and their impact in our lives, in our marriage, and everything that we've been growing in here in the wilderness of Wyoming. So, without any further ado, I would like to bring in my guest, Cori Schrader. Cori, hello.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm doing well, and you?
I'm all right, thanks. Thank you for being my guest. It's exciting to meet you finally. Um,
Likewise.
so part of you, the reason you're here on the show was because not of me or you, but sort of me. Several weeks ago, I had a dream, and in the dream, I was prophesying to you. I don't remember what was said, and it was very brief in the dream. By the way, Robbie says, hi, Cori.
Hi, Mom.
And so I told your parents that I had this dream. And, well, Robbie and Bob just jumped on it and says, you got to get a story from Jurri. So here you are. And so when you registered, I got your title, and it was called The Water of Life. Now, usually when I get people get request a story, I quickly get the title, the first sentence, or an image. And so it'd been a while, like maybe a week or two, that I had the image. And all I saw was a dirty, dry field, like a farmland field. Now, just full disclosure to everybody in the audience, I have been friends on Facebook with Cori because of her parents. I did not research Cori, and have I ever met you before, Cori? Have I interviewed you? No.
Mhm.
I do know that she has some sort of job in public service or government of some kind, but I have no idea what that's all about. And so I'm writing this story blind. I want you all to know about that. Now, Cori, I'm so excited to bless you with this prophetic story. I want to give you a quick rundown, and for the audience, how to receive a prophetic story. Okay? So a prophetic story is not to be understood literally. It is meant to be understood symbolically. The story is a revelation. And then after I'm done reading it, it's a time of interpretation. And that's where you and I get to learn and unpack the hidden treasures in your story. The goal is the application. Like, what's God saying? What do you want to do with it? Now, there might be a mystery. We may not know at this time. Maybe it's a future-based story. Maybe it's present future or present past. I don't know, but you will be able to speak to me, I hope. I'm going blind, and honestly, I don't really know what to do with this story, just so you know. But I believe it's God. And by the way, Cori, you have power in this time. You have a choice. You can say, yes, I receive this prophetic story. Or you can say, no, I do not receive this prophetic story. Or you may need to watch the replay or read the story again later to see if there's unfolding revelation for you to chew on. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Cool. Very good. So for those of you who haven't done so already, would you please hit the like button, subscribe to our channel. After our time of interpretation and our application of learning what this story is, there'll be a break for to sow into our ministry. We want to give you an opportunity to give. And then after that, I will let you know some details on how to get your own prophetic story from me as well. So stay tuned for that and learn about some of the things that we have to offer here as well on our website. So I'm so excited. By the way, Cori, do you know what time it is?
Well, I think it's story time.
Oh, it is story time. Awesome. Now, everybody in the chat, please participate. If you have revelation, any words of encouragement, any insight, please add it to it. We will love your input as well, because people know Cori and I don't. So this is so cool. All right? All right, here we go. The water of life. Cori was a steward of the land, and it was her father who had given this assignment to her. She worked hard at all that she did, putting her hands to the plow to till the field before her. However, unfortunately, this field she plowed was dry as a bone, and getting water to it to loosen the soil was becoming difficult. The culverts and canals and access ways for her to reach her resources was like navigating a maze of villains. The labyrinth she faced was overwhelming. You see, Cori sees and has insight on how to improve the situation. But the collaboration of those around her, the ones in other fields, sometimes proved to be tricky. What was Cori going to do? One night, Cori was sleeping in the farmhouse. She was alone this time because her husband was away on a business trip. The previous 3 nights, Cori was having insomnia, as her brain wouldn't shut off from her constant thinking. But tonight, she took melatonin and drifted off to sleep. Cori dreamed a powerful night vision. Angels came to her and showed her field of operation, but they did even more. They took her up higher and above the dry and dusty land to show her a greater perspective under the moonlight and starry night sky. This steward of the land looked up to the heavens and prayed for the ability to make this right with wisdom and courage. Cori then looked down on the earth from a 40,000-foot level elevation. She could see. Far off on the horizon, Cori saw an incredible resource that she realized she was associated with. This was a powerhouse of rockets and of liquid hydrogen and oxygen fuel. To her amazement, Cori did a little science experiment in her mind and remembered that when liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen burn, their exhaust is water. There was so much power in this connection that if she partnered with it, they could channel the water of life and bring it to her dying, dusty field of operation. Cori continued to see. She looked at the angels and commanded them, "Take me to the leader of that operation. Allow me access and give me favor." The angels took Cori into flight and whisked her over the land, flying under puffy, glowing clouds and the full moon's glory. The journey from her field to the rocket land was amazing. Cori felt such a great rush. As she came closer, she could feel the power of the rocket land and became a little intimidated by the opportunity. The angel set her down in front of a gate to meet a guard. He asked Cori, "How did you come here?" "I came here by divine coincidence," replied Cori. Do you mean an accident? A happenstance? Luck?" asked the guard. "I came here by the kingdom. Let me in," commanded Cori in a gentle voice. This calm, confident direction alarmed the gatekeeper, but he complied, and the doors opened for Cori. Already this process of favor made Cori quite excited in her heart, but she kept her composure. Inside the place were multiple factories that all built rockets. Cori made a beeline for the liquid fuel manufacturer. Immediately she found the foreman and explained her proposal. She only wanted the exhaust, the water waste from the rockets, to moisten her land. The foreman thought the idea was remarkable and strange, but it would not negatively affect this rocket's land's business model whatsoever. "Let me take you up the ladder," said the foreman. "Just so you know, I am for you. This idea is unique, but I can't see why not to allow it to happen. Only the owner can say yes." The foreman took Cori to a small office at the corner of a building. The windows in the room allowed a complete view to see all the operations. There were many clocks on the walls and a cot next to the desk for the owner to sleep in. It was still night, and the owner was not laying in the cot. He was still working. The foreman introduced Cori to the owner. "Excuse me, boss. This young lady has an idea she wants to run by you," said the foreman. The owner was happy to listen, and they sat down. Cori explained she knew that the exhaust from the rockets contained the water of life, and that there was such an abundance coming from it that this would help feed and channel the water into her field of care. She also asked for help with making the canals connect so that his resources would come to her while passing in between the other fields along the way. The owner listened to Cori and processed all she said. At the end of Cori's presentation and her ask, the owner posed a thought to her. What about the other fields surrounding you? Do you steward them as well?" This question took Cori aback. "No, I only steward my field. Those other fields are under someone else's care." "What if I were to help you to acquire those other fields and bring them under your supervision? Your idea to me is unheard of and unique. You have more to offer to the earth than you realize." The owner paused and then continued. "Tell you what, I'm going to agree to this proposition, but only if you feel assured and confident about taking on even more. How long have you been a steward of this field?" "Not long. I came here by chance." "You mean you came here by divine coincidence," smiled the owner. Cori blushed. The owner understood more about Cori than she did herself. However, the response to Cori's pitch shocked her. She wasn't expecting such favor and increase. She only wanted to solve her problem, and now she was potentially helping solve many other people's problems as well. Tonight was a remarkable night. The owner asked Cori, "So, what will you do now? How do you get home?" Here, Cori remembered she was experiencing a night vision, and all of this seemed so real. Worry knocked at the door of her heart. Was this dream going to happen? Was it going to manifest? Cori asked the owner, "Give me a sign that your acceptance will become real." The owner smiled. "You know the sign already. The king has given you favor, and you will soon become connected to someone in the most remarkable way." And with those words, the rocket landowner snapped his fingers. Cori woke up from her deep sleep in bed at home and sat up. She looked around and out the window. The full moon still shone her beautiful light down through the puffy clouds. In the windowsill was a small styrofoam white cup with soil in it. One small sprout grew and poked up through the dirt. Hope was on the horizon, and the water of life was on its way. Inceptio. So the word inceptio, if those of you who don't know, I don't do the end, because this story is a beginning place. Inceptio is Latin for the beginning. So part of these prophetic stories for you, Cori, is that this hopefully establishes your identity and destiny, and then you get to finish your parable. So there's a lot to process, right?
Yes, indeed.
Good. Well, any thoughts to start off with? And by the way, in the audience, if you have any insight, please do chime in.
It's really funny because a lot of that lines up with what I do with my job. And being here in Texas, we're facing a pretty mega drought. And I
A
work for the
drought.
Texas Department of Agriculture,
Oh, well, that's interesting.
which is designed to help. We're an agency that helps feed everyone, not just Texans, but
Uh-huh.
the US and the world. And we're facing a pretty epic drought right now. And so that's like, wow.
So the title came to me like a couple weeks ago, The Water of, and I didn't know about the drought. Wow. Um, okay, so go for it. Tell me more.
And funny thing is, you talk about Rocket Man, Elon Musk is building his space town in Texas, and he builds rockets.
Yes. See, that was the only thing my wife Alicia and I like. Well, is this about Elon Musk? Because I didn't have an agenda writing this. Just so you know, I wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna make Elon Musk a character. I had nothing like that in me. So he's building a rocket town, or what is
Yes,
he
in
doing?
fact, his SpaceX is going to be based out of Texas.
Yes, but is it in your area or somewhere else in Texas?
It's, I want to say further south in Texas it's going to be further south in a part that's probably hit harder with the drought than the rest of
Hmm.
Texas. But yeah.
See, this is why this story stumps me because I don't know how to what to do with it. I'm like I'm handing it off to you like a baton. Sorry for the mess, but what
Well,
are
we
you
got a lot
thinking?
to unpack.
Yes, go for it. Tell me more.
Um, but it's kind of interesting because God's given me a lot of favor with not only just in life, but with this job that I currently have and getting to be positioned to be the assistant to an elected official here
Hmm.
within the last 12, no, 14 months.
Okay.
So it's kind of like everything's very timely.
Mm. So you were saying a moment ago that your boss's position is about the Department of Agriculture, right?
Hmm.
So
Yes.
could you share more about that at all?
So he's a statewide elected official.
Hmm.
And it's so funny because a lot of people think, oh, Department of Ag, that's just farmers and ranching and things like that. But no, it's a lot more than that. In fact, our agency was one of the leading agencies that started the food and nutrition programs, which is USDA funded by the federal government. But we feed 5 million school kids a day.
Oh wow.
And so we're responsible for that. And we started a program that gets farm fresh products
Hmm.
to Texas schools and teaches kids about where your food comes from and
Hmm.
makes we're promoting the healthy lifestyle of farm to table, know where your food comes from, being organic and growing your own stuff and things like that, and stepping away from, toxic things.
Hmm.
And
Okay.
and so now it's very interesting because the whole like Rocket Man, drought, it's just everything kind of like played together. It's kind of surprising.
Wow. Well, I wonder like what it would be for you. Well, obviously, in the story, you end up having divine coincidences and divine favor. You know, you got through some gatekeepers, right?
Mhm.
Um, I mean, Robbie, your mom is saying something here. If I get my mouse to work, hold on.
The
She
Lord
says,
definitely put me in this spot.
yeah, yeah. She says it's about where you are in life at the moment and your job.
Hmm.
That's good. And you just said that the Lord put in, actually, that's the first sentence of your story. And it was her father who had given this assignment to her.
Hmm.
So, wow.
Yeah, the
Maybe,
Lord definitely put me in this spot.
yeah. So, Elon Musk rocket drought. Do you have any insight? I mean, I know some science. Like, I know that, like, when the space shuttle goes up and they are burning hydrogen, oxygen, it makes the clouds, the water, right?
Mhm.
Now, that's a literal interpretation of that. But do you happen to think of anything about a symbolic thing or a different way of approaching? Because you are, in your story, you are seeking the exhaust, the end of that process, and the water of life. That's a kind of a parabolic term anyway, the water of life,
Mhm.
right? Do you have any thought about that in any way about what your role is or what you're doing with the farmland or bringing food or the drought issue?
That's a Yeah, that's a deep one.
Yeah.
I do know that my boss has fought hard for getting our neighbors to the south to owe up to their water treaty.
Mm.
And so he's been a very big proponent of that. And it's just, we need rain in a big way. And it's, yeah, this, there's a lot to unpack. I'm sorry I can't put words to it at the moment.
Okay, but you are thinking of things, right? You're not drawing a blank.
Yes. Oh,
Okay.
very much so. Yeah,
Okay.
there's a whole lot of things going on, scientific wise, nature wise, making people owe up to their treaty wise. Yeah. In fact, one of our hardest hit regions is the Rio Grande Valley,
Mm-hmm.
and not probably a month ago, they got 26 inches of rain.
Oh, that's a lot.
It is a lot, but unfortunately, it was in parts that we couldn't capture the rainwater to use.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
we had massive flooding, but we couldn't utilize it.
Oh, that's too bad. Man.
Yeah.
Huh.
So it's
Um,
trying to create ways of how to collect water and store the water and use the water and how to shore up our infrastructures and things like that.
okay. Your story says that you had a unique idea that took people by surprise. Maybe that's a revelation coming your way in the future, right?
I pray so.
Yeah.
And yeah, because we are one of the main ag states of the United States, and we help feed not only ourselves, but the US and the world.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. California was doing that much more in the past, from what I
Hmm.
understand. Kind of like the bread basket is what they called those farmlands. Um,
Hmm.
so, water of life. See, I'm on my feet too. By the way, I just I have to figure this out too. Um, your story talked about the navigating villains, and that there were other farmlands or other fields that you were trying to get the resource for from to your field. That could be symbolic of other people's territory or occupations or responsibilities.
Yeah.
Without getting you into any difficulty, how are things uh, when you're working in your job? Like you have to navigate people, right?
Hmm.
Do you
Very much
find
so.
that a challenge, or how's that going?
It can be, because we work with both sides of the aisle, and we also work with ranchers and farmers, but we also
Mm-hmm.
work with the eco activists and people, and then we also work with people who are pro solar farm, pro wind farm, but we also are working with our state government on foreign owned land. So we have some foreign entities that have bought land in Texas that we are
Ah,
looking at deeply.
okay. So yeah, I think that your story makes sense in that way. We have some comments in the chat I want to share with you.
Mhm.
As a lot of them are from Robbie, your mom. So, oh, she already said that. It's about your life and your job. She said she has had and continues to have divine favor. Good for you. We all need
Yeah.
that, don't we?
Yes.
Especially if you have a bad day, if you know what I mean, right? So,
Yes.
yes. She says, Cori, you are bringing the water of life to the government in Texas and beyond. When we think of water of life, oftentimes it has to do with God. You are his agent where you have been placed. That's good. And then my mom's here. Cori says, any method for vapor capture on the horizon?
Ooh,
I don't
that's
know.
good.
What is vapor capture? I don't know.
Um, I know it in the very common sense of where you would dig out a, like when you're at the beach
Hmm.
and you need water, you can, if you have like a plastic sheet, you can dig out a hole, pour ocean water into it, and put a plastic sheet over it and let the sun, it kind of like does this evaporation thing.
Okay.
And so that's the very, very simple breakdown of vapor capture that I know because I'm not a
Hmm.
scientist.
Okay.
But with our humidity, we should be able to vapor capture because I've gone out to my car and it's been stopping wet.
Yeah. The humidity in Texas, I hear, is pretty intense.
Can be. I'm just really glad I don't live in Houston, where it's very, very humid.
Ah, yes. I have not been to Texas yet, so maybe someday I'll meet you. That'd be
You're
great.
gonna have to come. We have great barbecue.
Oh, yes, that would be good. Very good. Well, so I know that you said a few minutes ago that your mind was processing a lot. Are things coming more clear for you to verbalize? Because I'm really leaning on you to see what else is going on here.
Um, I think it might be just conversations I'm gonna have to have with my boss to
Mm-hmm.
push forward with talking with, scientists like Elon. Um, Elon, at one point, his company, Tesla and SpaceX, would go Texan members, which is a program that we run at our agency. And I don't know if they still are, but we need to check on that. But
Okay.
it might be worth starting to approach those dialogues of something like this.
Hmm. Interesting. Yeah, I maybe Corey. The simplest thing is that the favor of Jesus is on you and is positioning you for more than what you're doing now. Right? I mean, it's like even the rocket guy in the story says, "Well, what about the other fields?" And he says, "What if I can help you acquire them?" Jesus gives a parable about being faithful with your talents. Like in that sense, it
Hmm.
was money or ability, and we can look at talent like my ability, my talent. And then he rewarded them based on how they stewarded what they were given, and then he gave them more. So I
Hmm.
am actually, based on the story, anticipating that I don't think you're going to be in your position much longer. I think you're going to be promoted, and that there's something that you're going to bring to the table that no one else has or even thought of, which is like what this story is talking about, which is a unique idea that everyone thinks is strange, and yet even heaven has given you that revelation. So I would ask you, Cori, to be posturing your heart to receive from heaven the revelations that he has for you. Um, yeah, Robbie says yes, Jurri for sure now and for the future. I'll get that up there. Yeah, so there's a prophetic story I wrote long ago for some of the kids I worked with, and it's one of my favorites. It's very much like a C.S. Lewis story, like a
Hmm.
Narnia, and it's called the Storehouse of Secrets. And this is a realm or a floor in a manor that has all sorts of treasures, all sorts of creative ideas, inputs and revelations and ahas, and it could be screenplays, it could be inventions, whatever. And God has shown me that this is a place in heaven where anybody, not just Christians, can get their revelations for. Actually, I just remembered your mom's prophetic story is talking about the storehouse of secrets, and she is flying to it and as a bird. So honestly, here we go. Cori, you need to rewatch your mom's prophetic story, her broadcast, because you're being given an invitation to the storehouse of secrets where you can unlock a treasure of revelation to be a solution to your job situation or whatever your government people are doing, right? And that's something that heaven wants to deposit in you. So I recommend you could have to look on our videos from the past. The Storehouse of Secrets, we have a video on it. So watch your mom's story, watch Storehouse of Secrets, and then go back to this. So it's kind of like a cool chain here I'm seeing, because obviously I'm believing that this story's application is a current and future thing for you.
Mhm. It
Now,
feels that way.
tell me more. How are you thinking about this? What's your sense of receiving now?
I'm very excited. I always know that I always knew that that God made me for such a time as this.
Mm-hmm.
And He's placed me where I'm at for a reason. And the connections I'm making and the people I'm meeting and the heart that He's given me for government and for not only the state of Texas, but for the world.
Mm-hmm.
So I know there's something more there. So,
Good. Good. And so for people who may kind of have a little pushback to me about the idea of the storehouse of secrets, the Bible says that ask the Lord for a spirit of wisdom and revelation.
mhm,
So if you were to think of like where I get prophetic stories, where are stories located on earth? A library in books. The Bible says that there are books in heaven written about us. Is that a boring almanac or telephone book or like watching security footage for 10 hours, seeing a story unfold? Or is it something wonderful and creative? And so those stories that I've given you and others are from the library of heaven. God is giving you the opportunity to have a spirit of wisdom and revelation to go up into heaven and get access to the treasures of heaven in the storehouse of secrets. It's simply a name for a location that has a
mhm.
purpose and a function. So I hope that makes sense to everybody. Um, that's how we operate. A lot of the stories that we do here at Legends of Wind are like dream language. And we look at their functions, not their form. Cool. So before we take our break, Cori, do you have any other final thoughts about your story? Anything you're thinking or pondering?
Not yet.
That's okay. That's okay. I believe that as this time goes forward for you, this is going to unfold. And so I would have your heart be ready for
Mhm,
an encounter with Jesus to talk to you
mhm,
about what this is all about. And you never know when that moment of aha and that moment, the
mhm,
moments of favor are there for you. I think things will line up for you. And then all of a sudden, everything's going to shift. And
mhm.
to me, that's my understanding of the process. Sound good?
Definitely.
Cool, cool. Now, before we go to our break, I have a question. So, if you were to introduce someone that has never heard of prophetic story before, what would you tell them about it? And would you suggest that they get their own?
Oh, absolutely. It's a really interesting insight into things that are happening in your life. And I would introduce it as hey, you want to hear something really cool about yourself that you never would have ever guessed in a million years?
That's awesome. That's cool. And you would recommend it, right? To someone else to get it?
Definitely.
Thank you.
Definitely.
That's great. I wanted to be a source of encouragement and strength for you. If you have a really rough day, it's nice to have a breath of fresh air from the winds of heaven.
Yes,
There you go.
especially today.
Oh, okay. Well, may today end better than it started. That's good for
Definitely
you.
did.
Good. So we're going to take a quick break. So I want to let everybody in the audience know we are Legends of the Wind. We are a prophetic ministry that celebrates the creative arts. And we're building and growing what we're trying to do. We're trying to use the gifts that my wife and I carry and steward them well. And we want to be a source of strength and encouragement and creativity for people. So we're going to give you an opportunity to sow into what we're doing. If you are feeling led by God to give, there's a link in the description below to do so. But we'll have another thing on the screen as well for you to find us and to give. And we'll be back in just about a minute. See you in a second. If I can get my mouse. Thank you, everyone, for your support, for your offering, for your giving. Thank you very much. For those of you who are intrigued by what we do here at Legends of the Wind, and if you are interested and feel moved to get a prophetic story, first of all, if you want one for yourself or let other people know about the opportunity as well, I'm going to show you our website. This is legendsofthewind.com. And here is where we are found, and you can request a story. You can look for Become a Legend or Request Your Story. And at this time in this season, we're not charging money to do this. We are sowing into people, and we want people to be blessed and encouraged and strengthened to have an opportunity for this. So if you are finding that you want to do this, comment below and put in the word request. We will contact you, and in our next week newsletter, or excuse me, in an email, we will give you a special discount code for getting a illustrated book cover, and I want to show you about that. So my wife Alicia has done book cover paintings for people who are gotten a prophetic story. Actually, this one, the clock is ticking, is Robbie's prophetic story book cover. And it's so cool because Alicia designed all these books and all sorts of styles based on everyone's different stories. And it's so good. So Alicia's beautiful. So you can order that as a special keepsake. And it'll let you, have a journal entry, and you can process your story, and it has something for you forever. So I hope you enjoy that. And let people know, okay? All right, let's see. My mouse is not cooperating tonight. All right. Cori, thanks for being my guest.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Your mom says, great job, Jurri. What a special blessing you received, Cori. It's cool.
I agree.
Yay, thank you so much. Well, it's a blessing to do this. It's a unique thing. It's a creative thing. We're relying on the word of mouth of others. And then, yeah, that's the word I was looking for. Keepsake. There we go. So fun to get a story, and love the book cover, which is a keepsake. So that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So Cori, don't hang up, but we're going to close out the show. But I'm so glad that this story will be a blessing and as it unfolds for you. It's a now story and a future story. So how about this? When things manifest, let us know. Maybe we'll bring you back on and you can talk about it. Who knows if the Rocket Man shows up for you in the way we're thinking? I don't know. But it's pretty exciting to see what would happen. I mean, look at this though, Cori. God cares about your state.
Mm-hmm.
God cares about the farmland and the need of water. And so maybe there's a solution of the water of life from heaven that would be coming through your stewardship, how you handle your job and the favor and access you are going to be given, and that you have the ahas and the revelations to bring solutions. I'm all about everything for heaven to come to earth, and you can be part of that. So, sound good?
Oh, I agreed.
Very good. Thank you, Cori, so much. Everybody, I appreciate your time for watching the show, being a part of the Legends of the Wind broadcast. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks. See you soon. Bye-bye.